Now at 11, Governor Beshear announces 7 new deaths today, but says the recovery rate in the state is almost at 50%. Plus, hear from a Lexington nurse who decided to brave one of the country's epicenters for the coronavirus. What it's like trying to save lives in New York.
ABC 36 News Weekend Edition starts now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Monica Harkins. Thanks for joining us on your Saturday night. We begin tonight with the latest from the governor. That's tonight's top story at 11. Governor Beshear announced today 206 new cases of the coronavirus in Kentucky, bringing the total in the state to at least 2,707. And today that includes 5 inmates from the Green River Correctional Complex. The governor also says 7 new deaths today. The number of people who've died from the coronavirus in Kentucky now up to 144. On a positive note, the governor says about 46% of Kentuckians who have tested positive have recovered. That's about 1,174 people. The governor also reminding business owners to start prepping for when it's time to phase in reopening Kentucky.
You ought to be thinking about a couple things. Number one, am I going ahead and getting the materials I will need for temperature checks? Because you will need to do that every day for all your employees. That's in the guidance. Number two, have I thought about how to socially distance in my workplace? If you're thinking about going back in the same way as before, you're not thinking hard enough. We're going to be working with industry on those plans. Number three, what type of PPE do I need in my facility?
Also, new details today in the ongoing federal lawsuit with the Louisville church attempting to hold drive-in service. Attorney General Daniel Cameron announced his support for On Fire Christian Center in Louisville. The church is suing the city of Louisville. Remember, while Governor Beshear has supported drive-in style church, it's only if they can maintain social distancing guidelines. Louisville's mayor has said the city is too dense to do so. Beshear's executive order went into effect March 19th to prevent mass gatherings. Attorney General Cameron says Louisville's actions have violated the First Amendment. Well, Kentucky's U.S. Congressman Andy Barr introduced legislation Friday aimed at creating a committee to investigate China for its handling of the coronavirus.
And China must be held accountable. This committee will be a bipartisan, bicameral committee, House and Senate, 10 Republicans, 10 Democrats, and it will be making recommendations to the executive branch and to the United States Congress about the appropriate response to hold China accountable.
Barr says China suppressed information that led to the spread of the coronavirus.
Well, we saw plenty of sunshine today, and with those clear skies, once that sun sets, our temperatures plummet. We're at 42 degrees right now here in Lexington. It's 41 over in Moorhead, 43 degrees in Richmond, 37 degrees over in Somerset. Live HD radar on a 3-hour loop, but barely any clouds outside, so we've got some pretty decent radiational cooling outside at the moment. Our Fort Bank Skyview camera overlooking Richmond and Madison County. Mostly clear skies outside at the moment. As we get a look at the current advisories outside, Eastern Kentucky, they have frost advisories in effect until tomorrow morning. We're expecting overnight lows to drop down into about the mid-30s. So if you got any plans, if you've already done some early gardening, make sure you put a little bit of a covering, a tarp, or maybe a bed sheet. Make sure you don't lose some of those early spring flowers. In the meantime, looking ahead towards tomorrow, we are expecting some more cloud cover and even some rain. All the details on that coming up.
Thanks, Justin. Well, as we know, the coronavirus knows no borders, and New York is known as one of the epicenters, with total deaths from the virus reaching more than 10,000 people. A Baptist Health Lexington nurse says she acknowledged that and went to New York to help in the fight against COVID-19 anyway. ABC 36's Bobby McSwine spoke to the nurse and shares her experience.
I literally want to live my life to be of use to others.
With that goal in mind, Susie Fraze left Kentucky and headed to Interfaith Hospital in Brooklyn to battle the pandemic on the front lines.
I knew that I just needed to go where it was the worst, and it's definitely the worst here.
Frey says the small hospital is very understaffed, and she says it has a 0% success rate of saving patients who come in needing a breathing machine. Sadly, after her second day on the job, 2 of her patients died.
You're getting thrown in the deep end, and it's a very, very deep end.
Frey says she's getting new PPE, personal protective equipment, every morning, but it has to last all day. Her shifts are usually 12 hours, and she sees different patients during that time, so it's hard to make the gear last.
My first layer of PPE, the one closest to my skin, I have to tape it together because it will have ripped.
Frey says because of the exposure that's bound to happen daily and the large number of patients, she may test positive for the virus. The CDC reports more than 9,000 healthcare workers in the U.S. have tested positive for the coronavirus, but she says she knew what she was signing up for.
I was prepared for this. It doesn't make it easy necessarily, but I still know this is where I need to be.
Frey has been sharing her experience on Facebook Live in hopes of putting a face on the dire situation and elaborate on the impact as a frontline worker. She says there's a lot of misinformation out there and people aren't following CDC guidelines.
And it is as bad as people say that it is. If more people take it seriously, maybe they'll wash their hands for actual 20 seconds. Maybe they will decide to get things online instead of going to the store.
Frey says she will extend her 4-week contract if she's still needed. If not, she'll go to another coronavirus hotspot. Bobby McSwine, ABC 36 News.
Thanks, Bobby. As many of us know, part of battling coronavirus is using a ventilator at its worst phases. Well, good news for a patient who was on a ventilator for a whole week. This is 73-year-old Gary Mazza of Nicholasville. Today, Baptist Health Lexington sharing this video of his release earlier this week. Now, Gary is recuperating with his wife of 46 years at home. His wife told the hospital he is gaining back his strength every day. Well, another medical unit from Fort Campbell deployed today to help fight COVID-19. About 70 soldiers from the 501st Medical Company are headed to Boston. This is the second deployment from Fort Campbell. The first round sent 300 soldiers, and they've been helping in New York. All the soldiers are trained medical professionals. Well, the Hope Center is expanding its services to its clients struggling during the COVID-19 pandemic. ABC 36's Christy Bollinger tells us the shelter is going virtual to help those struggling with substance addiction.
We have in the Hope Center recovery programs, we have about 350 men and women who are in the recovery program.
That's 350 men and women fighting to stay sober during this hard time.
So each of them are dealing with a lot of changes in their lives, and they're trying to live a different way, learn a new way to live. And a lot of that is based around community.
A community that becomes a family and new friends to help change old ways.
Based around making friends with those who are in recovery. It's based around classes and NA meetings and AA meetings.
With help of laptops donated by Quantrell Subaru and Voices of Hope, the Hope Center was able to make virtual meetings a reality, and they're now able to show recovery clients meetings online while practicing social distancing. Others also can find help. The Hope Center is sharing the links to meetings. For that list, visit our website, WTVQ.com. Chrissy Bollinger, ABC 36 News.
Well, it would have been prom season for many high school seniors across the state, but of course, because of coronavirus, that's not possible right now. Meaning for so many girls, their dresses left hanging in the closet, but there's been a lot of creativity giving these seniors a chance to show off their unworn prom dresses. Woodford County seniors jumped on this TikTok trend. Take a look. The girls use their dress bag to hide their transformation. Then you get to see them in their dresses. Then they toss the bag to the next person. So tonight would have been Woodford County's prom at the Kentucky Castle. I love this video, and I'm so glad these seniors found a fun way to still wear their dresses. And if you want to see that full video, we have it posted on our website, WTVQ.com. And coming up after the break, a look at your full forecast with meteorologist Justin Roth, and a little later in the newscast, a food crisis across the nation, how the federal government is helping America's farmers.